Good afternoon, everyone. This is Yasir. Today, we're doing a live stream on how to use LinkedIn to get more interviews. We're going to be covering a lot of topics about networking. We're going to be covering how to find companies and contacts so you can actually build in that network that's going to inevitably help you find more job interviews. But before we get started, let me know if my audio is okay, my video is okay, you can hear me just fine. Let me know in the comment section. What I'm going to be talking about is everything from what is networking to how to network, the entire strategy here. This is specifically for someone who's been trying out online job postings and it hasn't really been working out. Maybe you tried your hand at a few job boards and you've been applying to 20, 30, 40, 50 jobs and you haven't had any luck. This is going to show you an alternative approach that you can use to build your network from scratch. Now, of course, there's an argument to be made. How effective is online job posting? How effective is networking? We're going to talk all about that today. So let me know if you have any questions, post them in the comment section. I'll bring them up. If you have any specifics, I'd love to address them. But essentially, I want to start out with talking about what is networking. Why does everyone keep talking about networking? Why does everyone keep talking about networking like it's this magic ultimate secret that no one really knows how to solve? Like the moment you hear the word networking, what really comes to mind? What do you think of? And you're probably thinking, well, I got to talk to people. I've got to know people. I've got to know people in the company I want to work at. But Yasir, I'm watching this live stream and I don't have any contacts. I don't know anyone in these companies. I don't know how to find them. Don't worry, we're going to talk all about that in today's live stream. So what is networking? Networking is finding people in your industry who have decision-making capability of whether you get hired or not. That's just specifically in this context. Networking can be a bunch of things. But when people are talking about how to network to find a job, that's what they're talking about. Find people who are either in the company that you want to work for, or they're hiring managers or hiring decision makers in the company you want to work for who can influence whether you get hired there or not. Now, think about it like this. I like to give this example to a lot of the clients I work with. People often assume that because you're not the most qualified person, you don't have all the credentials in the world, that's why you're not getting the job. There's someone who's more qualified, who has more years of experience, that's why you're not getting qualified. This is not true in a lot of cases, in many cases, right? There's a certain point where employers have enough people who have similar enough experience that they bring to the table that everything from that point forward is about, do I like this person? Are they a good fit? Can I vouch for them? Can I trust this person? Because you're going to be working with these people, right? They have to know they can trust you and work with you every single day. Now, think of this example here. You are someone who is hiring a babysitter for your kids, okay? And you know Sally down the street. You've known her since she was 9 years old, and you know that she's done babysitting for a lot of people in the neighborhood. You know enough about her to know that she's done a good job, and she's someone I can trust. She's someone I know from my network. I have no problem telling her to take care of my kids while I'm gone, right? And then you have Jessica, who has 20 years of nannying experience in 50 different countries. She's done all kinds of nannying everywhere in the world. And you saw her on her website, but you have no idea who she is, never heard of her before, and you don't really know her personally. Who are you going to hire? Are you going to go out of your way to call Jessica, get to know her, get to know where her rates are, and then try to interview her, see if she's a good fit to take care of your kids, and then hire her? Or would you just hire Sally down the road who has maybe 8 months of nannying experience, but you know for a fact you can trust her? Who would you rather hire in that situation? And in a lot of cases, you're probably going to hire the person you know. You're going to hire Sally because you've known her your entire life. So when it comes to finding a job, you can kind of take that same analogy where people will hire people they trust. It's not always about who's the most experienced, okay? Once you find someone who meets enough of the criteria of experience, then it comes down to, who do I like? Who can I trust? Who can I actually see in this role? That's what I want to share with you today, okay? How do you create those connections with people using LinkedIn to build that trust with employers, decision makers, people who will be hiring you. Okay. That's the first thing. Now, why is networking so effective specifically to find a job? Why do people keep raving about it? If you have tried finding a job the regular way, maybe you tried applying online, you sent a bunch of applications, it hasn't worked. Have you ever had that feeling where I wish they only gave me a chance? Like, I can really do this, but no one gives me a chance. They don't call me. They don't respond to my application. I've tried sending out my application to so many different places, but they never respond. Think about it like this. If you are selling yourself through a piece of paper, as opposed to having an actual conversation with someone, where are you more likely to establish a conversation? Is it through a piece of paper or through having an actual conversation with someone? And I'm sure you would agree, it's when you have an actual conversation, you can tell them specifically about how you're a good fit. You can tell them specifically about how your experience relates to what they're looking for. So with networking, you are talking to people who make the decisions and you're explaining to them your specific situation and the specific value you bring to them and their company. You're not relying on a resume. Now, a resume is a glorified 1-page, 2-page sales pitch. It tells them, hey, I'm so great because I've done A, B, C, D, E, F, G, all of these things, right? It's about me. This is all I've done. But when you're talking to someone while you're networking, you're telling them, hey, what's your problem? What are the challenges you're having in your team? What's something that you could use in your team right now? What's a solution you're looking for? What's something you want to do on your team, but you don't have time to do? That makes it all about them. And when they tell you this is a challenge we're having, we don't have enough people, we don't have enough marketing strategies, we don't have enough people to help us out with our job search, then you can say, okay, well, I've done this in the past. I've done this in the past roles. I've helped people in my previous company do exactly this. So what I want to help you understand is why building relationships is so much more important than spending your entire life on online job boards and refreshing the job boards. And that's not as effective a strategy. Okay. We're going to go through these topics fast because I want to get right into the meat of it. This is not going to be one of those, let me talk for 45 minutes and I'm going to pitch something to you at the very end. And that pitch is actually the most important information that I'm not going to give away. That's not what I'm doing. None of that BS. I'm going to show you how to do all of that today. So let's compare really quickly before we move on. Online job applications and networking. Which one should you prioritize and why? If you are the average job seeker, you're probably spending the most amount of time on online job applications, right? Because that's pretty much all you know. Where else do you look for a job? You go online, you look for a bunch of job postings, apply, and then you pray and you wait that one of them picks you, and then you have a job, right? Now, what's wrong with this approach? Couple of things. First thing is, if you go on LinkedIn and you open up the average job postings and you see how many people have applied to that job, within the first day, you will see that number at 200 or something around that. And you'll see, I think the number actually caps at 200. There are probably a lot more people applying to that job, okay? The other thing with that approach is, and you can probably relate to this, every single time you apply to those jobs, especially after you've been doing this for a while and you haven't gotten any results, you start getting demotivated. You almost know the moment you apply, you will not get a response. It's almost like you know this going into it. If you're feeling like that, let me know in the chat right now, because I know I definitely did, where every single job posting I filled out was like, okay, here we go again. I'm going to put this resume out there. I'm going to send it out. They're not going to reply to me. And we're going to do this over and over and over and over again. So what happens is every subsequent job you apply to, every subsequent job posting you apply to, your motivation level goes down. You feel worse about yourself. You get demotivated, and then you don't want to do it. And then your job search goes on some days, off on some days, on some days, off on some days, right? The other thing with this is with online job applications, it's a lot like a lottery, okay? If you hit the lottery, you get the job. If you don't hit the lottery, you get nothing. So if you've applied to 50 places, 100 places, you might not hear from a lot of them, but that one place that finally gives you the opportunity, it gives you an interview, that's the one you're going to count on. What's wrong with this approach? Well, you don't want to rely on your income coming from a lottery now, do you? You want more control over your income. Kind of the same with your job search. Do you want it to be a gamble? If out of 100 companies, the only companies that reach out to you and say, hey, I know you've applied to all these companies, but we're the only ones who are going to give you an opportunity, does that give you a lot of choice? Does it give you a lot of choice on who you want to work for? And I can tell you right now, talking to a lot of my past clients, they've told me I'm at a point where I'm so desperate, I don't care which company reaches out to me. I'll work for whatever company. So with this online job application approach, you don't get to choose very often which company you want to work for. Maybe you find a company and you apply there and they don't respond to you. They don't respond to your job application. So whichever other company does respond to you, naturally you're going to be like, okay, that's my only option. I have to jump on that. What ends up happening, a lot of shady companies respond to you, or companies you don't really want to work for, they respond to you. And you're like, yeah, you know what? I think we can make this happen. Let me just do this job. This is the only option I have. I'll do it. Does that sound like a good recipe for a successful career? I'm sure you'll agree it doesn't, right? It's a gamble. You're taking a gamble. And most people, when they get in a job, they're so satisfied. They stay for a year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years in a job they don't like, and responsibilities they don't like, with a boss they don't like. So that's why the whole online job application, especially when you're doing it from a perspective where you're not confident in it, where you're not getting results, you're accepting job applications or accepting job offers from a place of desperation, you don't make very good decisions. Now, let me show you some of the results that my clients have gotten, and this is the same thing I'm going to teach you now. Basically, you reach out, you network with people, and you have interviews lined up, okay? You talk to people, you have a good relationship with them, you have interviews directly with the decision makers. Time and time again, I can show you example after example. This person vouched so much for my client, said, hey, you can apply to any account coordinator position, and I will make sure your resume gets seen, okay? Just got called for a telephonic interview, just had a second interview. Like these, I've got so many examples of these from my clients. I can just keep quoting them, okay? All of these have come through networking, okay? 3 interviews in 1 week. Like that's, yeah. So I don't need to convince you too much on whether this works or not. But the reason I want to explain this is a lot of people are like, well, networking takes too long. I don't know if this is going to work for me. I don't know if this is even helpful, right? If you've tried everything else, you've tried online job applications, you've tried 50, 100 places, and you're not getting the result, would you be open to considering something else that might possibly be more effective? If the answer is yes, I'm glad you're here because I'm going to show you exactly how to do that, okay? All right, so now we've got that out of the way. I want to talk about the actual things that you can do right now to start networking with people. Let's decipher this whole what the heck is networking, man? How do I actually talk to people? Let's talk about that today. I hope you've got a pen and paper ready. If not, open up a notepad because we're going to go on LinkedIn. Let me open it up for you right here. And then we're actually going to discuss how to do this. Let's see. Let me know in the chat if you can see this. I don't want to be talking to myself for an hour. I want to make sure you are getting some value out of this, and then we'll go into the specifics, okay? Got one comment on here already. Cool. All right. Okay, so let's get started. Let me open up my LinkedIn. Where did it go? We're just going to switch. Okay, I hope you can see my LinkedIn here. Now, the first thing you're going to do is when you're establishing your networking strategies is who do you want to work for? Which companies do you want to work for, okay? Do you have some companies that you know you want to work for? Maybe you don't have any companies you want to work for. The first thing you want to do is establish which companies are hiring for the role I want. Okay, I'm going to repeat that. Which companies are hiring for the role I want? Now, if you are someone who's, say you're looking for like a consulting job, right? The first companies that might come to mind are KPMG, Deloitte, PwC, EY, all of those big companies. Now, that's great. You can definitely network with them. But what we want to do is we want to outline other companies that are maybe small to medium who have the same exact job posting, who offer maybe a similar salary, but they're significantly less competitive than some of the bigger giants, right? If you think of these bigger giants, especially in this market right now, everyone and their mom is reaching out to them about interviews, about jobs. So if you're just another one of those people, it's going to be a lot harder for you to actually get in touch with someone. So the first thing we want to do is get an idea of how do I find companies that are less competitive, right? So here's what we're going to do. If you are a graduate of a university, now I'll go to my university for the sake. You're going to put in the university title, and then you're going to go to their page. Okay, you got your university page. Then you're going to go to alumni. Now, let's just take an example. Like, what role do you want? Suppose you want to be a junior accountant. Okay, we're going to write, or just accountant. Let's just write accountant. We typed in accountant. Now, all of these people you will see are people who've graduated from your university who are currently working as accountants. You've got all of these people, okay? Accountant, professional accountant, professional. All of these people have graduated from the same program you graduated from, and they're doing something that you want to do. Now, all you have to do is you can go to one of their profiles and you can see which company are they working for. Okay, I can't pronounce this company for the life of me, Galloway, whatever. That's one company, okay? Go to other people's profiles. Which company are these people from? You've got whatever company this is. So you're going to start getting a lot of company names that are not highly competitive and company names that you might not have considered before. You might not even have thought of that, right? So come up with anywhere between 10 to 50 companies. Just list them out right now. Don't worry about the contacts. Don't worry about getting in touch with them. Just list out all the companies. That's all you want to do. You just want to do research on which companies are actually hiring for my role, so then I can start targeting with them. Once you know which companies are hiring for your role, then you can reach out to all of them all together instead of going back and forth, discovering a new company, sending out contact, discovering a new company. That's going to take you too long. So you can do that, go to these different people, find which company they're working for, put it on an Excel sheet, put it on a list. On the side, you will see all these other people doing something similar as well. And you can look at their companies as well. So if I go, for example, this person, you've got another company, Plainsman Group, again, so many companies. And then when you go open up this person, you've got DW Builders, you've got BCLC, you've got BA Dawson, you've got all of these companies. So if you just keep going through the side tab here, you're going to find companies and companies and companies and companies that are relevant to you, because that's the kind of role they're looking for. And all we did was we went to our alumni, we find where our alumni is working, finding a whole list of companies. Guys, if you do this right now, you're going to have a list of 10 to 50 companies within 15 minutes of research. In 15 minutes, I've got all these companies that are hiring for the role I want. I can target them. Now, that's just the alumni. The other thing you can do is literally go and look for the role you want. So let's take another example. Let's take, maybe you're someone who wants a marketing manager role, okay? You're going to write marketing manager. Go to people. You've got all of these people, okay? This person's working at Red Door Events. This person's working at Pan Pacific. This person's working at Loblaw. All of these companies, just write them down. Just write those companies down, because they're hiring for the role, or they will be hiring, or they did at some point hire for that role because this person is working in that exact role, right? Make a whole list of those companies, okay? At this point, you should have hundreds and hundreds of companies to consider. If that is still not enough for you, go to Indeed.com and write marketing manager. Now, we're not going into specifics. We're not looking up the actual job posting. We're only looking for which company is hiring for my role. That's it. Don't waste your time reading all the job descriptions, nothing. Online marketing manager, you've got Dundas Remedy, BAM, Elegant Glass. These are places you might never have considered before. They might not have been on your radar because you were like, I want these top 3 to 5 companies. That's the only one I know of, so I'm just going to try them. These are all the companies you should add to your list, because they're hiring for the role that you want, and they probably pay around the same anyway, and they're significantly less competitive because no one does all this research. No one goes out there and looks up other less competitive companies, okay? Do all of that, make your whole list of companies. Now, we've done this. Suppose we have come up with a whole list of companies. What do we do next? Okay, suppose we find 5 companies or 50 companies or 5 companies that we really want to reach out to. How do you find contacts in those companies? Let's actually take an example here of Indeed. We're going to start from scratch. Suppose we don't know anyone in this company at all. We have no idea who to contact. Okay. Let's take another example. Let's take junior accountant. Let's just open that here. Let's see who is hiring for junior accountants. You've got all these places, and I like going to date posted and putting 3 days just to get some relevant postings. Okay, you've got all of these different companies. This Garibaldi glass is coming up quite a few times. Okay, so you've got a lot of these companies that are hiring. Now, how do you find people in those companies? Simple as that. You go, you grab this company name, you copy it, you go back to LinkedIn, type this out. Okay, so you've got the president, you've got the human resource, you've got the human resource person, you've got all these people who are in that company. Okay, now let's try accountant. There you go. Now you've got a senior accountant working here, okay? And you've got an accountant. You've got another accountant. All we had to do, guys, was to go find the job posting, find the company, find them on LinkedIn. Now, if this is a junior accountant role and you kind of do the math, who would be your boss? If you were a junior accountant, who would you be reporting to? Because they're the ones who are going to be the hiring manager. If someone is hiring a junior accountant, they're either going to be an accountant or a senior accountant if they're going to be hiring you, if they're going to make the decision of whether you get hired or not. So all we did, we found the name of the company and we put up accountant, we got senior accountant. This is probably going to be your potential boss in this role. Okay. And you've got someone who's possibly in the same role, or maybe this person is going to be your boss. You found 4 contacts at the company. Now, what you want to do at this point is make a list of these contacts with every single company you've come up with. So if you have 50 companies, of course, don't try out all 50 of them. Start with 10. And with 10, do this research and find individually all these contacts that are in the team that you want to work for. So these people, if you actually applied, if you went for an interview, these would be the people who you would be interviewing with. They will be the ones making the decision of whether you get hired and work on their team or not. Okay. Let me know in the comments if this is helping or not, guys. I want to make sure I'm not going too fast. I'm covering everything and you're able to follow because this is going to be really important. At this point, you have made a target list. You've made a list of the companies you want to work for. For every single one of those companies, you have found out people who work in that team and or can influence your decision, okay? All you're going to do is you're going to go down this list and you're going to do the same thing. Now, suppose I found this other company called Leadcore, okay? Let's take Leadcore, put them up on LinkedIn. Boom. People, what do we find? Okay, we've got a sales recruit. By the way, a quick note, you probably don't want to reach out to a recruiter directly. You'd rather reach out to someone who's actually on the team because recruiters get so many messages, so many people applying. They already have a whole stack of resumes in their applicant tracking system. Sometimes they don't really want people cheating the system and kind of going around. They'd rather you just apply online. And you've probably seen this. If you reached out to any recruiter on LinkedIn and you said, hey, here's my resume, they'll either not reply or say, go and apply online. I'll just have a look at your application there. So you're not looking for recruiters. You're looking for people on the team. So you're looking for accountants. If you're looking for an accountant role, you are looking for Leadcore junior accountant. Okay, there you go. This person is doing exactly what you want to do. Senior accountant. This is probably going to be the one who's going to be you're either your boss or the person you're going to be referring to. These are the people you want to make contacts with. These are the people you want to network with, guys. I hope I'm making sense. Let me know. Found the company. Once you found the company, you found the right contacts. Who is going to be making the decision of whether I get hired or not? Okay, you found those people. All you do, guys, for the 10 to 50 companies that you have listed down, for each one of them, find every single person on the team or find someone who has the decision-making capability of getting you hired. Make a list of that in Excel, really track it down, okay? Now, I can go on and I can do that. This is just for companies that have posted a job now, like within the past day. You can do this for companies that you've even thought of or you've always wanted to work with them. Whichever companies you're targeting, make a list of those contacts, okay? Easy enough. This shouldn't take too much time. This should take as much as like half an hour to get 5 companies out of the way. I've done 2 companies for you and it's taken less than 10 minutes to do. Do that for all the companies in your niche. Okay. Now you've done this. How do you reach out to these companies? What do you say? How do you get their attention? Because a big complaint that people have is I'm reaching out to all these people and they don't reply, right? And a lot of what people will do is they'll go here, they might add a note, or worse yet, not apply a note, and they'll say, hey, I saw you have a job opening. Here is a 10,000 word essay on why I am qualified. Here is my resume. Please look at it and call me, or whatever. I'm definitely exaggerating here. I've probably done worse than this. And then you shoot it off, and then people are surprised that, well, people don't reply. They don't reply to my messages. The problem with this approach is it's all about you. It's all about, this is me. This is my qualification. This is who I am. Please look at my resume. Please apply, or please look at my application. It doesn't say anything about them, right? Now, think about it like this. You are a manager, right? And you have HR who's responsible for all the hiring. That's what they do. You don't want to do any of that hiring stuff. You don't want to go through all these resumes. And someone goes past all that process, reaches out to you, says, here's my resume. The first thing you'll do is, okay, just send it to HR. Just apply online. Let HR deal with this. I don't want to deal with this. The other thing is, when you do this, you are asking a favor from someone who doesn't know you. You're asking a favor. You're enlisting a responsibility on someone. And some of the worst examples that I can give, and I've done this before as well, but people reach out to me all the time. It's like, hey, I saw this job posting in your company. Please refer me. Here's my resume. I'm sorry, who are you again? Why should I do that? Because when you think about it like this, referrals are when people vouch for you. They say, I know this person is really good at what they do. I want to vouch for them that they'd be a good fit. If they don't know who you are, they're not going to vouch, okay? Okay, so we got a question. Let me show it up. Who all to contact? Only from people of your profession or leaders or mentors of popular industry? Really, really good question. Okay. If you are looking at a company that is hiring right now, they have a job posting right now. So, for example, when we went to this LeadCore, they had a job posting open. You want to reach out to people on the team that you want to work for. So, on this example, we looked up a junior accountant role. Let me see if I can pull that up again. We went to, where is it? LeadCore, right? Or, yeah, there we go. So, this is a junior accountant role. Blah, blah, blah. 2 years of experience, whatever. Just doing the math, you can tell the person who's going to be responsible for hiring you is probably going to be this guy, the senior accountant, because the senior accountant is going to oversee the junior accountant, right? So it makes sense that you want to reach out to the person who makes the decision of whether you get hired. So to answer your question, yes, to professionals in your industry. But if you are applying to a job that you see is open right now, reach out to the decision maker on that team. If they are not hiring right now, look for the people who are either at your level. So, for example, if you want to be a junior accountant, reach out to a junior accountant or someone above that and network with them, okay? Once you start networking with them, you create relationships with them, and we're going to talk about that in a little bit as well. Got a follow-up question as well. What all apps or forums are good to connect on network with people in addition to LinkedIn? Today, we're only talking about LinkedIn, so let's just focus on that because I think we could talk about LinkedIn forever. Okay, let's get right back to it. So instead of reaching out to them and saying, hey, here's my job application, whatever, what you are going to do is you're going to reach out to them and you're going to ask them for advice. Okay? Why are you going to do that? You're going to do that because you want to make them feel like an expert. Okay? Suppose you were a basketball coach, right? And someone emailed you, say, hey, I saw your basketball coaching video and I was so impressed with what you did. I just want to learn more from you. Can I just ask you 3 to 5 questions about your experience? It's all about them, and it makes them feel, wow, this person was actually impacted by what I've done in my past life, what I've done in my past experiences, in my past roles. Sure, I'll help you out. I'll give you a little bit of insight from what I've done. That's what you want to do here. You don't want to give someone the responsibility of, look at my resume. Here's me. You want to go to them and you want to say, I've noticed that you are a senior accountant at Ledcor. I'm currently exploring career opportunities in this space. I'd love to be able to talk to you for a couple of minutes just to ask about your experience. Let me know if that's okay. It has nothing to do with help me find a job, because that comes with so much responsibility. No one likes receiving that because they don't know who you are. They don't feel comfortable referring you if they don't know anything about you, right? But if you say, I just want some advice, I just want to hear from you. Can you tell me a little bit about what it took for you to get into this job? Or what do you really like about this job? What do you don't like about this job? What are some challenges you have about this job? That's all you can do. So you can hit the connect button, you can add a note, you can say, hey, Anjo, I noticed you are a senior accountant. Currently, I'm doing research on careers in accounting. Your insights could be or would be very beneficial to someone in my position. I hope it's okay to connect and chat briefly if you are available. That's it. That's all you have to do. That's all you have to do. You just have to tell them, hey, I notice you're an accountant. I just want to learn from you. Nothing about, hey, I saw a job. Here's my resume. Hey, look at me for a resume. Hey, this. You're not doing any of that. You're just talking about, hey, I want to learn from your experience. I just want to learn from your experience about how I can get started in this industry as well. That's all it is, okay? Very harmless. What you're going to do is, of course, personalize it. If you're seeing more commonalities, find other people who you can reach out to. So if you have, say, 40 companies and you have 5 contacts per company, right? That's 200 people. If you reach out to 200 people with this message, say even half of them reply, you've got 100 people to talk to across 40 different companies. You talk to 100 different people in 40 different companies who have the ability to make a decision in a company that is hiring right now. Do you think your chance of getting hired are higher or no? They're pretty high, okay? All right. If a job is posted on both LinkedIn and career section of a company, is it a good idea to apply? Ashwani, I think you're missing the point of everything I've just said. We're not talking about applying at all. We're not talking about applying online. We're talking about how to network. This is not anything to do with applying, okay? We're only looking at the job posting to see which company is hiring for a role. Who can I find in the company to talk to? There's nothing to do with any online job applications here, okay? If you are watching this video right now, you have already tried doing online job applications and it hasn't worked for you. If you want to continue doing that, continue applying online and getting the same result that you were doing before, by all means, you can do it. I'm just showing you another way to do this, okay? Getting back to this. Now, for all the companies you've listed down, you're going to reach out to all those contacts. You have 100 people that you have to talk to. You're going to talk to all of them, and you're just going to talk to them about their experience, their expertise, what it took for them to get that job, what do they like about their job, what are they looking for in a good company fit. Don't mention anything about a job, okay? It's all about, what are you experiencing in your job? What are some challenges you're having in your team right now? What are some problems that you feel like you could use a solution for? You're getting all this data and you're asking them these smart questions. Inevitably, they're going to ask you, well, you've asked me a lot of questions about my company, about my role. Tell me a little bit about yourself. Why are you so interested in accounting? Why are you so interested in marketing? Why are you so interested in whatever else? And then you can say, well, I'm currently open to new opportunities. I'm looking for careers in this industry. When I came across your job posting and I came across your experience, it really sounded to me like something that I'd want to do. Based on what you've told me so far, that sounds really interesting. Based on what you know about me, what advice would you share? At this point, this person knows you are interested enough to reach out to them, to learn about their experience, learn about their company, learn about their role. And if you say, what advice would you give me? A lot of times you'll say, well, did you know there was a role open at our company right now? Why don't I just refer you? Or tell me a little bit more about your experience. So what kind of experience do you come with? Do you have 6 months of experience? Are you fresh out of graduate? Then you can say, yeah, I've got 2 years of experience in accounts payable, accounts receivable. I've done payroll before. Is that what you're looking for? Like, yeah, actually, we've got a job posting open right now. And I think based on our conversation, you might be a good fit for it. Can you just send me a resume and I'll refer you forward? Or maybe if you're talking to the hiring managers, they'll have a good enough impression of you on that phone call. They might say, you know what? I kind of like you, right? I really enjoy talking to you. I think you might be a good fit for this position. So essentially, what have you done with this whole process? You have found companies that are hiring for roles that are less competitive, okay? They're not the top 4 or 5 companies that everyone in the world is reaching out to. They're some of the less competitive roles. And since they're less competitive, less people are reaching out to their contacts. Less people are reaching out to people on the team. A lot of people reach out to the recruiters, but not so much the actual people you'll be working with, the actual hiring managers. So now you have less competition, less people reaching out. You're going past HR, you're reaching the hiring managers directly. You're having a conversation with them. They know a lot more about you through your conversation than they would about your resume. If they're truly interested in you based on your conversation, they'll ask you more questions. And if you are a good fit for the team, they'll say, you know what, based on our conversation, I think you have a lot to offer. Why don't you just send me your resume and I'll send it to HR and see if they can do an interview. Now, don't go into this interaction expecting that. A lot of people are like, well, I did an informational interview and I didn't get an interview out of it. This doesn't work. If you go in with an agenda, people can smell it. Okay, you're actually going in just to learn. And if they think you're a good fit, you can always ask them. If you are talking to someone who's not a hiring manager, who's maybe one step below, you can always ask them, what's something I can do to really stand out for a position that opens up in your company? And they might say, well, let me talk to my boss. Based on my conversation with you, I think you'd be a great fit on the team. So why do we want to go through this approach of networking as opposed to just finding the role online, just submitting our resume and, getting a job interview? The first reason for that is going to be your success rate. What has your success rate been in the past if you've applied to 50, 100 job postings? If it hasn't been very good, do you want to continue doing the same thing? Probably not, right? Now think about it like this. I'm going to break down what happens when you actually apply online. There's a job posting that goes online. You go through your job boards and you happen to run into that job posting. You find the job posting, you take maybe half an hour. If you're smart, you're customizing your resume, making a cover letter, you apply to that position. Okay, you've applied. And you're going to do that for a bunch of different places, right? You're not going to do it for just one. And then you're going to wait and you're going to pray, please, God, someone read my resume and reply back to me. Now, you know this, whenever you apply to a position, there are hundreds of other people who apply to the same position. Statistically, the odds of your resume getting read is very, 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 very small. If I'm not mistaken, it's actually 2%. 2% of all people who apply actually have themselves moving forward to the next step. Now, say you're very lucky. The recruiter looked at your resume and said, you know what, this is a great fit. Let me do a phone interview with this person. The recruiter will reach out to you, schedule a phone interview with you. You'll have a brief conversation about your experience. You'll have a brief conversation about, hey, this is how I'm a good fit. Great. Best case scenario, the recruiter's like, yeah, I like this person a lot. Let me talk to a couple of other people just to shortlist a whole batch of candidates before I present it to the hiring managers. They're going to talk to other people. That may take a week, 2 weeks, however much longer. They're going to make a short list of 4 to 6 people. Once that short list is ready, the recruiter will then go to the managers and say, hey, we have done our research based on all of the people who apply to this role. Here are 4 to 6 people or however many who we think may be a good fit. Okay. Now, what's the hiring manager going to do? They're going to go through the resumes one by one, and they're going to look at the experience. They're going to look at whoever has the most keywords on the resume, and they're going to talk to the recruiter about how was your experience with them on the phone. And then, okay, out of these 5 people, I want to call in these 2 for an interview, and then I want to interview them. Okay? How long does that process take? From you applying to you hoping you get an interview, to you getting an interview with the recruiter phone screening you, the recruiter shortlisting you, then sending you to the manager, then the manager saying, yes, okay, I want to interview them. Then you interview with the hiring manager, and then you go to the second, and then it takes a long time. So when people say networking takes too long, well, guys, Applying online doesn't take any longer. The problem is the return you get on applying online is significantly lower. Okay, you're hoping that someone responds, and only if they respond, then you get to go to the interview. Now, what if you could take all of those middle pieces of HR, of applying online, sending a resume? What if you could take all of those apart and reach the decision maker directly, right? Talk to the person who is going to be your future boss directly. You go find the job posting, you go find who's going to be hiring for that role, most likely this person, because he's the one who needs a junior accountant, he's a senior accountant, and you reach out to them directly and say, hey, I want to know what you're looking for on your team. Give me some advice. What are you looking for? If you skip all of that, you bypass all of that, and you talk to the decision maker directly, and they'll like you, they'll want to schedule an interview with you. Now you have skipped that whole resume customizing, blah, 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 demotivating cycle that you might be doing this entire time. You don't have to waste time making resumes again and again and again, sending it again and again and again, and get no responses, okay? That's how you get demotivated. So what I tell people is base your progress on how many people are you talking to. Every single day, how many people are you talking to? That's how you're going to judge your progress, not how many job postings you've applied to, how many applications you've applied to. Let's just look at sheer numbers, okay? Here are steps. You're going to start by creating a list of target companies, at least 40, let's take 50 companies, okay? You've taken 50 companies, and I've shown you it'll take you less than half an hour to an hour to make a list of 50 companies. Make a list of 50 companies, and then you're going to look at everyone in that company on the team that you want to work for. If you're an accountant, look at the accounting team. If you want to look at marketing jobs, look at the marketing team. You're going to find 3 to 5 people who are either doing exactly what you want to do or one step above what you want to do, okay? So if you want to be a marketing coordinator, marketing specialist, marketing managers, make a list of those people. One company, 5 contacts. Second company, 5 contacts. Third company, 5 contacts, okay? You're going to do that. 5 contacts per company. Now, if you have 50 companies, okay, 5 per company, you've got 250 contacts. Now, you're not going to do all of that up front. You can do 5 companies at a time and work with that. But hypothetically, suppose you've done all of this. You've got 250 contacts. You reach out to 250 people on LinkedIn. Let's take a safe figure. Say 125 people respond to you. Maybe out of those 125, again, 50 people agree to an interview, okay? You are now talking to 50 people in the industry that you want to work for, in the team that you want to work at, with people who can make a decision of whether you get hired or not. 50 people. Okay, now that's going to be on the higher end. You're probably not going to need as many. If you talk to 50 people who can make a hiring decision and you impress even 25 of them, do you think that's going to up your chances of getting a job? Of course it is. It's definitely going to do that. So just by sheer numbers, this is why networking is so effective, guys. This is why it works. It works because you are building relationships, and relationships, because of their sheer nature, they flourish over time. The longer you build a relationship, the better it is. With online job ads, you can spend an hour every single day applying. There's going to be no return on the investment unless you hit that lucky lottery, right? It's like, yes, one person likes it. I got through. With networking, it's a sure shot. If you had an hour a day to apply networking and apply online job postings, which one of these two sounds like a guaranteed result? Doesn't it sound like networking would be a lot better, right? This is what I want to show you guys. It's not that hard. It's not that hard to network. All you have to do, guys, find the target companies. Okay, don't obsess about online job postings right now. We're talking about exclusively about networking and how to find contacts, even if you have no contacts. I'm going to summarize this for you. Number 1, make a list of companies that you want to work for. 40, 50 companies. Great. Find 5 contacts if you can per company. Reach out to those companies saying nothing about a job posting, nothing about I want a job, nothing about do me a favor. Just, I want to learn from you based on your experience. I want to learn about the insights you could share with me. That's all you're doing. The best person to ask about how to get a job is to ask the person who already has it. If you want an accounting job at KPMG and you ask a guy at KPMG, hey, how'd you get it? They'll tell you how they got it. They'll give you the blueprint, right? So once you've done that, you reached out to them, you will schedule maybe a phone call with them, maybe a Zoom call with them, whatever. You'll talk to them. Hey, just want some advice. You'll build rapport with them. You'll have a conversation with them. And that brings me back to my earlier point. People hire people they like and they trust, not necessarily people who are the most experienced. Kind of like that Sally example, right? You're not going to go and do 4 hours of research to find the most experienced nanny in the world when you know Sally down the street is just as capable, or you've known her and she's helped out a bunch of other people. People like working with people they can trust and people they've talked to, people they know. Any hiring manager will tell you they would prefer working with someone who's qualified and someone they like, as opposed to having to go through 300 resumes of people they've never heard of before. Okay? So you build relationships with these people. It's going to take you a lot of time. And if there is a posting available, they'll tell you, or you can ask them, hey, I noticed in this, you have a job posting opened up based on our conversation. Is this something that you think will be a good fit for me? Guys, you do this enough times, you network with enough people, statistically, it's not possible for you not to get an interview, okay? Unless you're doing something extremely wrong in this process. If you're going in with a sheer attitude of, I just want to learn, that's all I want to do, you can only expect good things to happen, okay? So let me know if this helped you guys out so far. I'll wait for some people to come on to the comments. If you have any questions, I'll open up. If not, that's okay too. I'll answer it in a future question. By the way, this is the same program that I use with my clients. I'll actually show you some of my client results again in case you want to see it. There you go. So these are just screenshots that I take every time my client gets an interview, right? So you have pretty much every single week, someone or the other. I can just go through time and time again, people getting interviews. And all of this has been through networking. Every single one is through networking. Interviews after interviews. Let me just go all the way back and I'll show you from the start. I had one of my clients who got, I think 3 interviews, was it? Yeah, 3 interviews in a week. Not one single job application. Not one. And then this person did an informational interview. Where is it? He told me that they have a positioning open up. It hasn't been posted online, right? It's been opened up only internally. So you can find out about job postings that aren't available to other people, because some companies are like, we only want to hire from inside or through referral because we trust our employees the most. If our employees know someone, they'll refer someone. If you don't have a connection in the company, you probably will never know about this position. So this client of mine, he did a whole informational interview, talked to a bunch of people. They said, we've got this role open. It's not open externally. Why don't you just send me your resume and I'll move you forward? This would never have happened if you were applying online every single day, okay? This person watched my videos, did the same thing, got a job interview. This is a screenshot from a recruiter for one of my clients. Hey, I've shared your profile with the recruitment team along with the job that you're interested in. You should expect someone to reach out to you. Can you imagine the value of getting this kind of response from people in the company you want to work for? If you want to work with a company and this is what they do for you, they go out of your way to recommend you. And this is another one of my clients who've been getting interviews and they've listed down all the questions that they had, telephonic interview. Like, this is what I do for a living, guys. This is kind of what I do. I help my clients go from applying every single day to hundreds and hundreds of applications and they're not getting any responses. And I showed them, listen, stop the whole online application thing. Sure, if you've got a lot of time, do it. But when you do networking, when you really, really focus on networking, these are the kinds of results you can expect, okay? If you do want my help, if you do want my coaching perspective, find the link for that in the description. I'd love to work with you as well. But I wanted to make sure, I'm telling you, working with me is really expensive, and I understand that. That's why I do these live streams, because I want to make sure everyone who can't afford my services still has something to do. I want to help you out with your job search, okay? So I think that's pretty much all I had to offer you guys. If you have any questions, let me know. If you're watching this after the live stream, let me know in the comments section. I'm going to wait 2 more minutes in case you guys have any questions. Otherwise, we will continue at another time, okay? Let me just close up some of these tabs here. We've got people from Nigeria. Thank you so much for watching me from Nigeria. I hope this video really helped you out. I'm trying to share networking tactics with you that could apply across the board, regardless of which country you are. Building relationships is something that's not really just restricted to Canada, USA, wherever. You can do this no matter where you are. just to reiterate, guys, you can never go wrong talking to people, and you can never go wrong talking to enough people in your industry. Okay. So I think that's pretty much it, guys. I hope this helped you out. I hope this gave you a lot of value. If it did, please let me know in the comments. And if you'd like to see me do more of these, I'm an open book. I'd love to share this with you. Let me know what more you'd like to see in the future, and I'd love to do it. Again, if you got some value out of it, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel. I will see you in the next one.